The Galactic War rages on. The Major Order is oh so close to completion, and we've got more Helldivers up on deck for today. Welcome to the channel. This is LtBuzzLitebeer, and the Great Armor debate continues to rage on, and we've got some feedback on how to improve it slightly. A quick check-in on a discussion that is used within the community that not everyone knows about, and also a final farewell. But first, in case you haven't done so, please hit subscribe. It's free and it really helps out the channel. And while you're at it, make sure to ring that notifications bell so you never miss one of my future upload alerts. And it's now time to hit those drop pods for more Helldivers. Very quickly, here comes the world-famous 30-second Superstore reset, which is good for the next 18-ish hours. First, you've got the Jaguar medium body armor with peak physique as the passive, which I love using when rocking heavy strat weapons. There's the matching PF56 Jaguar Beret Mask Sniper Reticle Helmet, the CE101 Guerrilla Gorilla Helmet Cape Combo, and the Guerrilla Gorilla Super Heavyweight Armor with Engineering Kit for reduced recoil and +2 throwables. On to the Galactic War table we go, and we just broke the 2 days to go barrier, and are currently sitting at 6 of 8 required defense campaigns completed, and by the time this video goes live, we will have added our 7th with a successful defense on Kremsica, leaving us only 1 more to go and a day and a half or so to get it done. Now, we could have already been done with this major order with some strategery, that's a tactical term right there, and more on this in a moment, but with the amount of time remaining and just needing 1 more defense, barring something ludicrous thrown our way by Joel and Arrowhead, we should be able to finish this thing up. And finally, for those of you needing medals, and who doesn't, today's daily or personal order is to get 40 kills with the Eagle Cluster Bomb, which is a medium armor pen fast strike strafe. Now, I dabble with this one from time to time, but I do prefer using the Eagle Airstrike or the recently and silently buffed Eagle Strafing Run. Anyways, once complete, you'll pocket 15 medals. Okay, let's next jump over to a discussion I've touched on here on the channel in the past and has been ongoing within the Helldivers community concerning armor selection and specifically the trade-offs between light and heavy armor. Now for today, FandomWire grabs the lead with this headline. Quote, "The heavy versus light armor debate in Helldivers 2 has players squabbling for optimum protection over spreading democracy." The Helldivers 2 community got into a debate over armors after a viral post pointed out a huge setback of the heavy armor. Okay, let's check out what they have to say. The armors in Helldivers 2 are mainly classified into 3 categories, light, medium, and heavy, which we already knew, and of course there's tweeners in between those 3 categories. Choosing the right armor depends primarily on the type of mission, type of enemy, and difficulty level. Most players in the game prefer the light and medium armor, myself included, completely neglecting the heavy armor because of its reduced speed and stamina regen. Both of the reasons I don't prefer to use heavy armor. Despite giving the highest survival rate, the heavy armor is hated by the community. That's kind of a strong term. Indeed, players can withstand a lot of damage, but it makes it very difficult for players to complete all the objectives since it takes a lot of time to run across the map. FandomWire then jumps in with another sub-headline: "The heavy armor's trade-offs in Helldivers 2 are worse than light armors." Here's the interesting part of this discussion. A post on the Helldivers subreddit has pointed out that the heavy armor's trade-offs are worse than light armors. Compared to the medium armor, the light armor has a -50 rating, +50 speed, and +25 stamina. For heavy armor, it should naturally be the opposite. However, the stats are +50 rating, -50 speed, and -50 stamina. I think the stamina rating is where they're pointing at. The post highlighted that heavy armor gets -50 stamina instead of -25. Yeah, there you go. However, some players pointed out that heavy armor gives players headshot protection, explosive resistance, and damage redux boosters, which explains the extra reduction in stamina. And the final sub-headline here from FandomWire reads, Arrowhead needs to make the heavy armor stronger in Helldivers 2, something I've argued here many times on the channel. This is what they say. It is statistically proven that heavy armor is the least popular type of armor in Helldivers 2, but fixing this isn't too difficult. So for everyone listening out there, here's their remedy. The heavy armor should have reduced stagger and flinch, allowing players to withstand more damage without getting ragdolled all over the map. This small buff will easily make heavy armor more popular among the community. So there's their remedy. And listen to it again out there. Heavy armor should have reduced stagger and flinch, and the way I'm reading it, it would not be a passive. It would be baked into heavy armor. And for all of you out there that like to main light and medium armor, myself included, would this actually entice you over to use heavy armor more often? Reduced stagger and flinch. They continue on. The best way to use the heavy armor right now is to combine it with a jump pack, as it will allow players to create more space between them and hordes of enemies. Right now, Arrowhead is determined to rework various gameplay elements, so this is probably the best time to address the issue. Okay, in the past, players have criticized the armor system in the game, saying that the game is balanced to favor the enemies rather than the players. Over the past few weeks, Helldivers 2 has made a strong comeback, all thanks to Arrowhead's recent updates, yada yada. What else does it say? Many fan favorite weapons and stratagems that were nerfed in the past were buffed again, making the game how it was when it was initially released in February. I would argue that it plays better than it did when it released in February, but that's just my 2 cents. And finally, Arrowhead has rolled out updates based on players' feedback, so hopefully the armor system in the game will be reworked soon. Now, as someone that does dabble with heavy armor, especially versus the bots, I can say that I prefer to have all that speed and stamina regen, because in this game, when your character's out of stamina and is just fatigued, you are at a serious disadvantage. And I personally, again, this is just my viewpoint, but I personally would rather sacrifice a little sustain and toughness for more speed, just so I can dodge and evade, especially when surrounded on Super Helldive. But again, let me know where you stand on this armor debate. It is clear that the stamina meter is extra stacked against heavy armor users, and you can also get around some of those mechanics using boosters and stems, but I'm looking forward to reading your responses. Would you rock heavy armor more often with reduced stagger and flinch baked into the armor? And also, right now, which do you prefer? Light, heavy, medium, maybe a tweener set? Drop me a comment and let me know where you stand. Next up is a term being thrown around within the community discussions, and I hinted that we would return to this a little earlier in the video. And by the way, this term is not specific to Helldivers, but I've received more than a few questions asking what Gambit means. And first off, this term is not shown anywhere in the game. So for many that just log on and look at the current major order, they don't pay attention to this. But here, you can see what the Google AI responded with when asked what a Gambit is as it relates to video games. And I want to highlight this little portion of it, a calculated risk that players can take to gain an advantage. And without spending 5 or more minutes kind of spelling out a long-winded explanation here, a gambit is a tactical move taken, in this case, by us Helldivers to work smarter, not harder, with both high risk and high rewards involved. Now, for instance, a few days ago, during this current major order, we were met with a defense campaign. I believe it was on Heath, although I could be wrong with that planet name, but the gambit was for us to just let Heath be and instead circle around that defense campaign and to go right at the source of the bug invasion. In this case, it was on Errata Prime, which was at that time labeled as a liberation. So the whole point of gambits, you can also think of them as massive gambles, is to risk losing potentially a few planets all at once, with the flip side, the prize being to liberate a planet while cutting off the FTL supply lines behind that planet to other possible defense planets, effectively and efficiently defending 2 planets at once while also liberating a third. But like I said earlier, there is a lot of risk involved here. If the regen or DK rates are stacked against you, players might make a play for the gambit, circle around the invading troops, and find they simply can't liberate the planet, all while losing massive amounts of ground in other planets that were left without defenses. So there you go. It takes a bit of know-how to understand the risk and rewards and to balance those with the amount of available troops and balance that against the regen rates on the planets. Gambits aren't always the best course of action either. So there's a lot of moving parts involved in one of these, but now you know. Okay, so normally I would end one of my Helldivers videos with the top 3 comments from my last video breakdown, but for today, we're going to switch it up. We've got something far more important to take a look at. This farewell message was posted to the Helldivers Reddit by Junior Growth 7729. I had to bid a final farewell to my dad today, a diver through and through. When I was down, he would pick me up. When there was no one else, he was my rock. Farewell, Dad. I will continue the fight without you, no matter the cost. I will spread democracy in your name, and I will make you as proud in death as I hope you were in life. I love you, Dad. Rest easy. I've got this. And rest easy, Junior. We divers have also got your back. And by the way, a link to this Reddit post can be found down in the video description. Head on over there. Let's show Junior our respects. Also, you can find all of my links to all of today's sources, again, down in the video description. Remember to hit subscribe and to ring that notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. All my socials can be found down in the video description. A massive shout out to the nearly 248,000 of you incredible ladies and gents from across the planet who continue to tune in and support the channel. Without your support, none of this works, and I appreciate you greatly. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.